As far as the war is concerned, World War, much has been written about World War II and the Greatest Generation, and in recent years, and I think it was important to revisit that. I was sitting on my porch not too long ago when somebody asked me a question I wasn't expecting. Clint, after all these years, who are the people you love the most? I thought about it for a while. That's a harder question than people realize. It isn't about who was the biggest star, who won the most awards, or who had the biggest picture. You remember people for different reasons. You remember a face, a laugh, a conversation you had 40 years ago. Funny thing about getting older, you forget where you put your glasses, but you don't forget the people who mattered. I've worked with plenty of talented people over the years. Some became friends, some became people I thought would always be around. Then, little by little, they weren't. So when I thought about that question, 5 names came to me. The first was Sergio Leone. Sergio gave me an opportunity when Hollywood wasn't exactly knocking down my door. He wanted me for a Western. Going over to Italy wasn't exactly the obvious choice. Turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. Sergio didn't need many words. We didn't always speak the same language, but somehow we understood each other. He taught me something I've carried into every movie I've directed since. Sometimes you don't need more words. You just need to let a moment breathe. Then there's Gene Hackman. We made Unforgiven together, and I got to see what kind of man he was when the cameras weren't rolling. Gene had a dry sense of humor, never needed to be the loudest guy in the room, and took the work seriously. When the camera came on, everything else disappeared. That's what you want from an actor. Eventually, Gene decided he'd had enough of Hollywood. He walked away on his own terms. I respected that. Then there's Merle Haggard. Some might wonder why a country singer belongs on a list like this. I don't. I've always liked country music because there's something honest about it. Merle was honest too. We could sit around talking about music, movies, old trucks, ranches, small towns, sometimes nothing important at all. And those were usually the best conversations. When he passed, I went for a drive, turned on the radio, and listened to one of his songs. For a little while, it felt like he was still there. Donald Sutherland was another one. Donald could make you curious without trying. You'd sit down with him, and suddenly you're talking about history, movies, politics, anything that happened to cross his mind. He listened. He asked questions. That's rare. When he was gone, I realized there were fewer familiar faces around than there used to be. That's part of getting older. You know those phone calls are coming. Doesn't make them any easier. And then there's Morgan Freeman. Some friendships don't need many words. Morgan understood movies. He never forced a scene, never needed to steal attention. He showed up prepared, listened, and somehow made everybody around him better. People notice his voice. After you've worked with him, you notice the man calm, patient, thoughtful. Those qualities matter more than people realize. Looking back, I've had a long career. I've made films I'm proud of, and a few I'd probably do differently. But the things I remember most aren't the awards. They're the people. Sergio taught me trust. Gene taught me the value of doing the work without needing applause. Merle reminded me that simple conversations can mean everything. Donald reminded me to stay curious. And Morgan reminded me that kindness can change an entire room. That's what age teaches you. Careers become history. Movies become memories. And eventually, all you're left with are the people you were lucky enough to know. I only wish I could sit down with each of them one more time, not to talk about movies, just to ask how they've been